junkies out there, I invite you to spend some time with me. I'm Johnny Allen, and this is the Johnny Allen Podcast Show. Hey, and the show does start now. I'm your host. We are on the air, Johnny Allen, and hey, welcome to 2020. I was off for 2 weeks. I'm sorry that you missed me, but I am back. Had a vacation. I had, it was the holidays, Christmas, New Year's, and I had family in town, and it was just, the studio was a temporary bedroom, so I had family staying here, so it was a little bit disarrayed, but that's over with now, and we are set up, and I got the new setup, so let me know what you guys think about the new background. Little Marshall over there, Marshall and Ampeg amplifiers. Marshall right there, that is the Guitar Classic, and Ampeg is the bass guitar classics. And I use those occasionally live and in my studio work that I do because I'm a musician as well. And in two bands, the Hopeful Band and the Crossroads Saints. And they both have websites. Crossroads Saints is building a brand new website right now. And I'll let you know when it's up and running. And we also have good news with the Crossroads Saints. Speaking of that band, we've had 3 songs featured on the Tony Kornheiser show, which he's the ESPN sports guy, man. He used to do Monday Night Football. He used to host that, man. So it's pretty cool stuff that we have original music featured on that podcast. So speaking of podcasts, there you go. So anyway, back to this podcast. I hope you guys had a good Christmas, a happy New Year. Hopefully everything was safe. Hopefully you had nice times and you didn't have too much problem. To actually review mine, rather, it was a little mixed. It was great to have the family here. I live in wife and I live in a little bit smaller house, and it was a little tight, but we made it happen. But when you got people basically living with you for 10 days that you normally don't stay with you, it changes your routine up a little bit. And in the middle of that, actually had this good old Indiana flu that came around. We've had a really bad bout of stomach viruses, and good old me got one Christmas Eve. So the Monday before Christmas Eve, I got it. So around 2 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Eve morning, rather, it hit me pretty hard. Now I had to work Christmas Eve, so this was the challenge of getting sick at 2 o'clock in the morning. I have to leave for work at 5 in the morning, so I had like 3 hours to control, the problem. Anyway, it was a challenge, and I made it through it. Now some people say, "Well, John, why did you just call off sick?" Well, here's the thing, where I work, if you call off sick before the holiday, they dock you. You don't get paid for the holiday. And they give you like 2 occurrences. Isn't that great? So anyway, I wouldn't have got paid. Basically, I wouldn't have got paid for almost like 3 days. So, I roughed it, went in. So anyway, besides all that, it was great. It was good. It was a good visit and everything, but we got everything back to normal. And like I said, the new setup, I had to put everything back. This is actually Saturday, January the 4th. So we're 4 days into the new year. Actually, it's celebrating a new decade, man. It's crazy, isn't it? Now, I remembered back when we had the Y2K thing. And you guys that are pretty young probably don't remember what the Y2K thing is. If you're younger than 20 years old, you're not going to remember. It was when the year 2000 rolled around and everybody feared that the computer systems were going to shut down because we turned over to 2000. They call it the Y2K, and people spent like tons and tons of money to fix and upgrade their computer systems, upgrade the internet back then, which was not anything like it is today. And anyways, just a big scare in a nutshell, big scare. And it really was not a big deal. Nothing happened. Nothing at all happened. But it's hard to believe that was 20 years ago, man. I mean, it's just really hard to believe. 20 years ago. And, the time just keeps zipping. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, thanks for liking and subscribing. I do have it on a restricted thing, but I'm going to lift it tonight. The YouTube did that COPA thing, that law they passed for censorship and whatnot. So everybody kind of freaked out, and basically what they were doing was cleaning the house, I believe. So I had taken a lot of my past videos down. They were old. It's not that they were bad, but they were just old anyway, and redoing the show and everything. So I went ahead and took some of those down, starting fresh with the new intro. You probably noticed that. And anyway, I put it on a restriction, but I'm going to lift the restriction because it's kind of silly because my show's on doesn't need to be restricted where you have to sign in to watch it. I want the viewers to be able to pick this podcast up the easiest way they know how. And that's basically just find it and say, "Well, I like it," and hit it. Now I have to sign into Google and all that crazy malarkey to hear me blab for 30 minutes, man. It's just crazy. So anyway, we're going to change that up tonight, and that way you guys can check it out. And like I said, this was a rare Saturday podcast. Like I'm doing it because I missed a couple weeks because of what I just said about the family, and I wanted to touch base with you guys, let you know what's going on. So anyway, new setup here. We are going to do a split screen. I'm hoping to do that in a month or so and get a guest on. Now I'll probably have a table in front of me or have a chair in front of me and have another camera aimed this way for my guest sitting across from me. It would be more like a Joe Rogan type of setup where we talk back and forth. And that'll be pretty interesting because I'm going to have some nice guests. I got a few guys that are already interested in being on. So it'll really kind of change the show a little bit and make it a little more interesting perhaps. But looking forward to doing that. So anyway, back to New Year's. Do you have New Year's resolutions? Like I've said earlier, if you've watched me before, I don't really make New Year's resolutions anymore. I just change throughout the year. I decided, what I was going to do back in July for the coming year. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to share a little bit of that stuff with you right now. I made this list here in front of me. You guys can't see it, but I got a list of some things that I want to do for myself for 2020. And here we go. I'll tell you what they are. All right. Okay. Let me get to the list. We get to the right page here. We get to the list of what I want to do. Life goals. Here they are. Life goals. I did title life goals. I want to change things that are not happy in my life. Okay. So, which basically is I feel like I have too much debt, and I'm working on that now. So, number one is paying off the debt. I am paying off debt and doing it pretty aggressively, as fast as I can to get out of the debt. I think that's good for everybody to do that. Not carry all that weight on your shoulders. You don't want to have to do that. You don't want to have to carry a bunch of debt on you. It's rough on you. Rough. Let's see, what else do I got on this list? Okay. All right. Healthier. I'm changing the health thing. I've already tried that. I've already started that, rather. Eating healthier, exercising a little bit more, trying to de-stress with meditation and prayer, which I think is good anyway. They kind of go hand in hand. So basically, I don't like to call it a diet, but I'm changing the eating habits, really, going as healthy as possible. Not saying I won't have a sweet once in a while, but I'm really upping that because as you get older, things start happening. I work at a healthcare facility. I see a lot of people my age, even younger, that are having some really bad problems, and I'm going to try to prevent that if I can. So, starting with the diet, a little more exercise. Matter of fact, for Christmas, I bought myself a bicycle. I had an old mountain bike that was probably 20-some years old. I never rode it. It was uncomfortable. It's like one of these things. I just can't ride that stuff anymore. So I just got me a coaster bike, good old-fashioned coaster bike, no gears or nothing. You just pedal and you go, and it's great. I've already been on it a few times, and I'm going to make a habit of trying to ride that thing at least 2 or 3 times a week to involve the exercise thing a little more. And I think that's important. So exercise. Along with the exercise is I love massages. I don't treat myself to them very much, but I'm at least once a month, Johnny Allen's going to get a rub down because, it just helps. Helps with the body, helps those muscles, and everything else. Also, I'm looking at more of the meditation type thing. And I said earlier with the prayer. Meditation, de-stressing, I think that's very important. That's on my list to do, basically just taking care of myself. Visiting loved ones a little more often. The wife and I talked about that this morning when I took her out for breakfast. I had a thing that I got. I had a thought about a year ago. I thought family first. Let's do family first. So, and we've already started that with the holidays. That I've seen everybody except my son. I got to go see him and my grandson. But other than that, I've seen everybody else over the holidays. And I want to make an effort to at least once a month go out and have a dinner or lunch or something with the loved one I don't see very often, an aunt and uncle or whatever. I suggest you guys do that too. Make time out once a month just to go and visit somebody in your family or a close friend, man. It's just really a good thing to do. It really is a good thing to do. I want to actually become more whole. It's another thing I have on my list too. Whole with myself. Feel whole as a person. feel comfortable with me, feel comfortable with who I am, what I want to achieve in life. And if I achieve the things I want in life, that's fine. If I don't, I still want to be comfortable and feel comfortable with who I am. I think that's very important for everybody. You have to live every day like it's your last one, because you never know when it will be someday your last one. And the way the world's so wacky today, you just never know. But it's just like, I've really been thinking about this a lot, guys. Really feel comfortable with who you are. If you feel really comfortable with who you are, you don't have these hang-ups. If you don't have hang-ups, you don't have as much stress. If you look at things like, okay, the problem comes up, right? And you say, well, okay, let's handle this the best way we can, but we're not going to freak out. We're just going to, stay, like the old saying is, stay calm and carry on, like they did in Britain, when they were getting attacked by the Nazi Germans. They said, stay calm and carry on. And that's what they did. That's kind of my theme in my life, is stay calm and carry on. That's my theme for my life. Stay calm and carry on. I mean, that's it. I used to get shook up about little things, and if it doesn't work out, what the heck with it? There's an alternative plan, or just be happy with yourself and enjoy every day. Like today, I'll talk about the weather. Skip over to the weather. The weather today was crummy, in Indiana, but it could be worse. Could be ice storms and all that stuff. It was like in the 30s. Had a little bit of wet snow this morning. Changed the range. It's been rainy and gloomy and cold all day. But you take a day like that and you say, okay, what do I do? Okay, I had to put the studio back together because the family was here, right? And this was a temporary bedroom for me. It was a bachelor pad for it was like 10 days. It was a bachelor pad. It was actually pretty cool, but I was cramped in here. But it's pretty cool. I'd watch my TV and fall asleep. But anyway, I had to put the studio back together, and so it was a perfect day for doing that. So if you got a bad day outside or whatever, do something inside. If you got a beautiful day inside, get the heck outside, right? Do something outside. Have fun outside. Enjoy life. Be whole with yourself. Enjoy life. Just take care of yourself as much as possible. When you start running on overload and try to do too much, which I've been guilty of that a lot, and that's one thing I'm not going to do in 2020. I'm going to keep productive, but I'm not going to overdo myself. When you feel like you're getting overloaded, just slow down. Just back it off. Maybe put some projects on hold, or maybe cancel some things if you got too much on your plate. The flip side of that, if you don't have enough on your plate and you're bored, do something. Create something. I've really been more on the other side of it, where I do too much. Okay, but I got family members, at least one that I know of, and possibly more friends and whatnot that can't seem to find enough to keep themselves busy. They're bored all the time, and just find things to do. Find things to do. Keep yourself productive. Take care of yourself. Be self-reliant, as Sean James does up there in Canada. Speaking of Sean James, you guys know that I subscribe to his channel. I've been a subscriber for a while, and you guys can look him up. It's called My Self-Reliance, Sean James. And you know what? He's moved his wife into his cabin up there, and it'll be interesting to see how that goes. He feels like it's going to go really well. I hope it does for him, and I think it will. He says basically, yeah, he's living his dream, And we can all learn a little bit from Sean and people like him. Is to just settle back, enjoy your life, whatever, no matter what the circumstance is. Okay, that's what I got today. Johnny Allen has today. Okay, on this show, I know on this podcast of mine, I drink coffee, right? So today's no different. Now I have cut my coffee back because I'm on the health kick, right? Some people say coffee's good. Some people say coffee's not. The only thing that I can say a little on a personal side with me is the coffee sometimes has a little bit of acid in it, which it does. Excuse me. It'll irritate my system a little bit. Excuse me. I dusted in here, and I think they got the dust stirred up. Sorry about the coughing. Anyway, today is Starbucks, and it really is Starbucks. Starbucks coffee, Starbucks mug. I don't endorse any of these coffees, but if you get your coffee, hey, let's have a swig. And I got some organic creamer in it. I like the organic creamer. It's actually organic sweet cream. Like I said, I've been cutting down my sugar, so I don't put as much cream in there as I used to. And I actually feel better cutting the sugar down. I've also been doing this, I think I mentioned before the new year, I was going on this Tom Brady type diet. And I've been kind of following it a little bit, not strictly, which I said from the out that I wasn't going to do it strictly. But it seems to be helping. And one thing I've been doing is drinking that water, and that water has been really good. A lot of that magnesium, it's got magnesium and potassium, and not a lot because you don't want a lot, but it really is pretty good stuff, and it seems to be helping me with some of the things I've been kind of suffering with, kind of the arthritis kind of things, stuff like that. So anyway, I'm going to continue to do that. Hopefully, you guys are having a good year so far. It's only 4 days into it, and it does seem like I'll touch on the world stage just a little bit. I'm not a political podcaster, but we'll talk a little bit about it. Okay. So from 2019, President Trump's impeached by the House. The House hasn't, sent the papers over to the Senate yet. I guess because they took a long break, or they're still thinking about it, or whatever. I don't know what that is, but they haven't done it yet. The Senate's probably not going to do anything with it anyway. The Senate's probably just going to throw it out. And like I said, I don't care if you're a President Trump fan or not. It doesn't really matter. He does things that kind of I question, and he does things I think are good. Just like Obama did, just like Bush did, just like Reagan did. Just you go back in history to every president we've ever had. They've done good, bad, and ugly. They've been good, bad, and ugly. I mean, it's just the way it is. Good, bad, and ugly. And so this really Donald Trump's no different. It's good, bad, and the ugly. So anyway, the impeachment thing hasn't really gone anywhere. Okay, so we have a tendency to we talked about this last night actually at band practice. It's kind of funny. We try not to talk about political stuff because it drives me crazy, but we touched on it a little bit. We talked about the situation that just happened where we took out a bad guy in Iran. He was a military guy. He's one of the high ups over there. And so should we have done that or should we haven't? I'm really not going to debate that. My whole thing is we build these countries up and we tell them that we're our buddies, and then we're fighting them. Then we end up fighting them later. We did have Saddam Hussein. We're like, okay, we're gonna give you stuff, and fight Iran, blah 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 blah. And we do this. We've been doing this for a long time, especially after World War II. We started doing this thing. We started doing this. Okay, yeah, you're my buddy, and then you do. But if you don't follow what I'm doing, if they do something wrong, then you know what, we're gonna get rid of you, or we're gonna fight you, or do something. And it's just been the history of what our governments have been doing. And our conversation with the band last night was just about that. And I just don't understand. I feel like we should just get out of everybody's business and just say, hey, listen, don't jack with us. If you jack with us, then yeah, we're going to defend ourselves. I mean, you're going to regret it. All right. But just stay out of it. Just stay out of it. Now, here's the thing, he's done some things supposedly. He's killed, done a lot of bad things supposedly, from what I hear. Which it depends on what newscast you believe in and whatever, what information you get from, whether you believe it or not. Like I told the guys last night, I have a hard time believing anything anymore. What's true, what's not? Are they feeding us stuff we want to hear, or are we actually getting some truth out of it? It's hard to tell these days. It's hard to tell. So I try not to really dive too deep into either side. I just try to sit back and watch and try to figure out, okay, what's going on for myself with all these situations. But we take out the bad guys, right? And half of us are saying, no, it's good. We should do that because they killed Americans. They've been doing this. They've been doing that. They killed Americans over there. Well, they killed the contractor and they killed, they interested in soldiers. Okay, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. But here's my whole thought about that. What are we doing over there in the first place? Why do we have embassies over there? Well, people say, well, we need to make a presence in these parts of the world, and we need to keep the strait open so that cargo ships can get through and all that. I can understand that part of it. Well, what are we doing in the country itself? I really don't want people that hate us in our country, and people that hate us. We should be. They don't like us. We should be in their country until we can become a peaceful world and do this together. Join hands and say, okay, we're all brothers and sisters. Created under one God or whatever, or just created equally. If you don't believe in God, we're the only humans. We only got one human race, right? I've said this before. So until we come to terms with each other as a human species and respect each other around the whole world, we're always going to have these problems, right? So since we got these problems, let's just stay. My opinion, my humble opinion, is just stay away from that. If my neighbor doesn't like me down the street, he for some reason he just doesn't like me. Do you think I'm going to set up a tent in his backyard and just start camping and saying, okay, I'm in your yard in a tent? But don't touch my tent. It's in your yard, but don't touch my tent, because if you touch my tent, I'm gonna have Big Brother come and beat your ass. I just don't see that. I just don't set a tent up in his backyard in the first place. But in the same thought, I don't want him setting a tent up in my backyard either, because I'm gonna say, hey, we don't get along. Get your tent out of my yard. That's just my dull thoughts on it. I really don't know. I mean, I can understand some points of it, like I said, but some points of it I don't. But that's about as political as I'm going to get today. Weather. Like I said, I talked a little bit about the weather. 7:30 p.m. Saturday, the 4th, January 2020. Hard to believe. Indiana weather. It's 32 degrees, so we're at freezing right now. So I'm glad I'm not outside driving. Tomorrow's supposed to be 40 and sunny. 47, sunny, kind of mild the rest of the week. So really, though, for January, it hasn't been too bad. A guy forecasted a little bit of the weather before I go here, guys. It's kind of interesting. I listened to a guy forecasting the weather early 2019 last year, around April or May of last year. And he had predicted that this year, 2020, and the latter part of 2019, the winter season, rather, was going to be, in our area, our region, was going to be somewhat in between. He says it could be really cold or it's going to be warm, because we're kind of in the middle of that El Nino, El Nino, or whatever. Okay, both of them. We're kind of like riding like this. So he says basically it's a coin toss. We're going to be cold or we're going to be really cold or warmer. And you know what? For the most part, it's been on the warmer side. It got real cold around Halloween. It dropped way down. Matter of fact, it snowed Halloween. And then it warmed up a little bit. And then it got really, really cold, like the 1st of December. It was like freezing around Thanksgiving. It was nice. It was cold. It was cold at Halloween. So the end of October was cold, snow. Towards the end of November, which is Thanksgiving, it was pretty warm. I mean, I smoked a turkey out there and everything. It wasn't bad. Beginning of December, froze. Woo, cold. Now towards the end of September and January, it's pretty mild. So he was right. Doing this. I remember years ago, man, it would just be like really, really cold. Or one year was really, really warm the whole year. So this year hasn't been bad so far. Knock on wood. Hopefully it'll stay that way, because I don't enjoy driving in snow. And really don't enjoy driving in ice. I almost refuse to do that. Anyway, that's about all I got today, guys. I hope you have a great new year. I'm looking forward to 2020. I'm looking forward to you guys sticking with me and us getting guests on this show and just having a good time and having some interesting conversations. That's what we're going to do here. And, God bless the world. God bless our country. God bless these people that don't have anything to do with the decisions that these upper guys, how they got up there, do that. These generals and stuff like that. They get up there high in the brass, and they want to do these things, and they want control and power. And, it's just, it's mind-boggling to me. You're basically, human beings going to live for 80 years, maybe, tops, 80. Some live to 90, some live to 100. But your average is going to be 75 to 80 years. That's all you got, people. That's all you got. Anybody. I don't care if you're a general. I don't care if you're sweeping the streets or you're the king of Egypt. You basically only got about 80 years on the planet. So, make it a good. Make it good. I mean, share the love with everybody. Why should you go places you shouldn't go for your own satisfaction or gratification? There's a guy we talked about last night that I don't know his name off the top. But he's got, oh yeah, I do. And you guys know him. He runs a little company called Amazon. I have nothing against Amazon. It's great. I'm for prosperity and whatnot. But he stated, now I have to find the interview maybe, but I heard it, that he stated he cannot make enough money. He really just wants to make more and more. How much money could these guys possibly have? They're like billionaires. How much could you possibly have? And what was kind of something that irritates me a little bit, it just really it saddens me really, is they have these people that have this much money, and God love them for getting it. I guess they did the right things and were smart and was able to get this kind of money. And you got to have some people that run businesses like that. They support a lot of the guys. They support a lot. They make a lot of jobs, create a lot of jobs. I'm not even with all that stuff. But if you look deeper into that, you see somebody like him, and then you see some people that just starving to try to find something to eat. that can't hardly eat in a war-torn country or something like that, or even not even a war-torn country, in our own country, they can't eat, that are homeless and things like that. And the guy I was talking to last night made a good point. It's like, well, why should somebody has that kind of money? And I'm not into the socialism and all that, but somebody's got that kind of money. You think that they could give some of that, or somehow, if the government has this much money, that we're blowing on other things, like just stupid stuff that we're blowing it on, weapons to kill people and stuff like that, or giving money to Iran and places like this to go blow things up. We need to rethink it. And I've said this so many times before on podcasts. We need to rethink it. Take that money, still build all these web stuff. Spread a little bit of it out. Give a little bit. When you're a billionaire, hey, give several million out and help somebody that's starving, or somebody's. That's all I got today, guys. So have a little. That's what I'm thinking. I don't make a lot. I'm not a rich guy by no means, but I try to give a little bit that I can to charity and people that need it, that sincerely need it, not somebody that just pretends to need it, but somebody that really needs it, that's really on hard times. That's all I got today. Thanks for liking and subscribing, and we'll see you Thursday. This is a special Saturday broadcast, but we'll see you Thursday on the Johnny Allen Podcast /Videocast Show. Happy 2020, guys. Have a good one.